Welcome to Art Ed Radio, the podcast for art teachers. This show is produced by The Art of Education, and I'm your host, Tim Bogatz. There are a lot of wonderful things that come with being an art teacher, probably too many to mention. There are a few things that we'd rather not deal with as well, and even though we try not to dwell on those too much, there is one that I want to talk about today, and how we get through it. Those stupid requests that we get far too often. Whether from administrators, other teachers, students, parents, it almost seems like a job requirement to have to deal with requests for our time, our energy, our budget, our supplies, and who knows what else. Now, why do we get all of these requests? Do people think that, our art supplies are there for everyone to take? Do people think that we don't do anything during class, so we have time to make their posters for them or do their projects for them? There are so many terrible requests that come our way, and we really need to find a good way to deal with them, and also find a good way to stand up for ourselves, show that we need our supplies. We have a curriculum that we have to teach. Our time is valuable. And thinking that you're a bad person for saying no is never the right attitude. Okay, it's a symptom of what people like to call the disease to please. Okay, because saying yes when you need to say no causes burnout. Okay, you do yourself and you do the person making the request a disservice by saying yes all of the time. Okay, if you're too busy, if you're overwhelmed, if you're burnt out, you're not going to be doing your best work. And that goes for both what's happening in your classroom and what's happening with those requests that you're trying to fulfill. Okay, the people that are asking are not going to be happy with what they receive from you. And at that point, you both lose. Okay, and maybe that's okay sometimes, but in the long term, it can really be damaging to your relationships. Okay, it's better to just say no at the beginning. And we'll talk today about some of the ways to do that. I talked at the Art Ed Now conference this summer about how we need to say no to all of the extras, all of the things that don't really matter, those things that we're just doing to be nice. Instead, we need to focus on what we're passionate about, what we do best in the classroom. That focus and that passion will be what helps our students find success. So it's okay to follow that passion and keep that focus. Because think about it this way. Are you going to be a better teacher when you're paying attention to what you want to do and what you love to do? Or are you going to be a better teacher when you're spending all of your time fulfilling requests from 8 different directions? Hey, it's better to focus on what you do and what you do best. It's better for you. It's better for your students. Now, Andrew has also written about this topic on the AOE website. He has an article titled, "Why Saying No More Often Can Make You a Better Teacher." It's worth reading, and we'll definitely make sure to set up a link in the show notes. But one point he makes in the article is that for everything we do, there's something else that we can't do. And we need to keep our priorities straight. Now, Andrew's really bad at this himself, so I probably need to ask him why he can't seem to follow his own advice. But before he comes on, I do want to tell you one last thing. I know a lot of teachers are listening to this episode because they're saying yes too often, and that's leading to a lot of burnout. And one thing that you can do, one course that really helps from AOE, it helps you discover your creativity, your passion. It's called Creativity in Crisis. It's all about finding who you are as a teacher, as an artist, and as a creative person. And so many people who take that class talk about how it saves them from that burnout and helps them really rediscover what they love about teaching and helps them love what they do again. I want you to listen to this from a teacher who just participated in the July class. They said, "The activities, readings, videos, and discussion with all of you wonderful educators has rekindled my desire and will continue on with this profession. I've lost hope before, and this was a wonderful way to regain it. It's been a breath of fresh air for me, and I look forward to the coming school year with anticipation rather than anxiety." Now, that's a pretty powerful quote, and it really does show what you can gain from this course. So if that sounds like something that would help you, go to theartofed.com/courses and check out Creativity in Crisis. It's a 5-week, 3-credit-hour class that starts the first of every month. It is a great way to rekindle that passion. But enough from me. Let's bring on Mr. Always Say Yes to Everything That Comes My Way, Andrew McCormick. We are going to start the show here with a little bit of role playing. Okay, so I'm going to take the role of an administrator or a colleague or a community member or anybody else who asks for stuff.
Okay.
You take the role of the resolute art teacher who's trying to say no to all of these stupid requests that we always get. Okay, you ready for that?
I think I'm ready. I think I can do it. I might have to, what is it? What's that song? The Meghan Trainor song? I'll have to channel my inner diva here. And my name is No. I'm going to get ready for this. Okay.
All right, let's see how we do.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you and your students create a mural for the cafeteria? We can pay you with free school food for the next 2 weeks.
No.
Okay. But we need to spend all of our budget on other stuff for the classroom. So can you use your art budget to buy art supplies for our classrooms?
Heck no. No.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm sorry to walk in during the middle of your instructional time, but my teacher didn't plan ahead at all, and we need boxes and paper and clay and paint and paintbrushes for our diorama project that we're starting right now. Can we have all of that?
No, I'm sorry. This is not a Walmart. No. Best of luck to you, but no.
Okay. Now, since I'm an administrator, I can afford a much nicer house than you, but I don't want to pay for the artwork to decorate it. Also, I can't pay you personally, but I would really appreciate it if you made like a 4-foot by 6-foot canvas for above the headboard on the bed in my 5th bedroom. Can you have that done by next week?
No. I may be able to direct you to some people who are way worse off than I am, but me personally, no, sorry.
Okay, and then lastly, I saw this super cool thing on Etsy, but I think $20 is way too much to pay for a handmade necklace. Could you copy it exactly for me before my dinner party in 2 days?
Actually, I think $20 sounds more than reasonable for a handmade good. I think you should just go ahead and pay that artist. So no, I won't do it for you.
Right. See, good. It's so easy to say no, but we're pressured with all of those things. So, like, here's my question for you. Like, how do you say no to all of those things without coming across as a jerk?
Well, first off, I gotta say, like, I think this episode could be subtitled as Do As I Say and Not As I Do, because I rarely say no to people.
Oh, man, Andrew.
Well, I've gotten better over the last couple of years, so I can talk about kind of some ways that I've done that. But, you know, one of the things I think as you've been in a building for a while, you kind of know, okay, if I say yes to this, you know, and maybe this sounds kind of really political, but this is going to gain me X, Y, and Z, good graces, good favors. You know, it's just nice. And also you kind of weigh, okay, that's really not that hard. I can totally do that.
Yeah.
So there are plenty of times where I will say yes to things and I'll do it. There are also some tricks on how to say yes, but like you personally don't do it. And I can get into that in a second. But, you know, just be honest with people. I just say, boy, I would totally loan you all the red paint that you didn't plan for your lava dioramas, but unfortunately, like I only have like 2 bottles left for the whole rest of the year, so I'm really sorry I can't do that. So, I mean, I think if you're honest and polite and you give a little bit more than just a hard no, people can respect that, and you know what teachers, you know, kind of you see eye to eye with, and they understand.
Mm-hmm. And so do you feel like you have to explain things though? Like, do you have to say, oh, I can't do it because don't you think you should just be able to be like, that's ridiculous? No.
I think in an ideal world where we really appreciate and support the arts, of course, but then I also think like those propositions probably wouldn't even come up because people would realize like, whoa, this is kind of ridiculous that I'm even like asking this person to drop everything they're doing in the middle of instruction to do this. But I do actually find myself having to explain, and that's just part of like not coming across as a jerk. You know, you don't just say, no, get the heck out of here. But it's like, no, you know, I'm really busy with the curriculum I've already planned right now. I'm sorry. But, you know, next time, maybe if you gave me more than a 1-day notice, that might be something we could integrate into what we're doing. So that's, you know, you do have to sugarcoat your nose sometimes, unfortunately. But, you know, here's the other trick. Boy, this is really meta right here. If you say yes to a lot of stuff and then don't do a good job or don't deliver, people stop asking you because they're just like, well, he says yes, but then he never gets the stuff done. So I'm just going to stop asking that guy. It's amazing after like a year of that, like you don't get asked for stuff anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if you want that reputation though. It's the guy who does all the crappy work.
Well, it depends on how much I like you or not. I mean, like if you're my administrator and we're on good terms, I'm gonna help you out. But you know, if you're just not very pleasant to me, oh sure, I'll do that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and then I don't do it. So they won't be asking me again for that.
All right, I don't even know where to go after that. Okay. All right. Well, you can keep on polishing that stellar reputation then.
I will.
Okay, so one of the things I talked about during the Art Ed Now conference is, you know, if you have a specific thing that you're doing, a specific passion or a specific purpose, you know, as far as what you're doing for the art room, that's kind of the default no to all of these things where people be like, oh, hey, can you help me with this? And you can always say, oh, hey, I'd love to, hey, but, you know, we're really busy doing this printmaking project, or we're just about to start this painting project. And if you can turn it back to your curriculum and say, oh, hey, we're too busy because we're doing these awesome things, then I feel like that is a good way to, I don't know if it's necessarily to get out of things, but I feel like that's a good way to kind of shut those requests down and just kind of show everybody, hey, we're doing this seriously. Hey, and we have some very important things that we're doing in our class. And you kind of touched on this, but you know, I'll have you elaborate a little bit more. But do you think we get a lot of these requests because people think that, you know, in art class, we're not doing things as seriously or our curriculum is not as important?
Yeah, I think that is kind of the basis of it. But I don't even think it's as personal as, you know, your teachers are asking you because they think your curriculum is not very good. It's just a general sort of societal lack of appreciation for the arts in general. They think it's just, you know, fun time. It's not very serious. It's a blow-off class. It's underwater basket weaving. So it's not a personal thing. And I can say, you know, I've taught at every level from high school, middle school to elementary. I feel like, you know, the past 8 years or so being a high school and middle school teacher, I really didn't get a whole lot of that. They were the things I got asked to do were very sincere. Like, hey, can you just kind of help us out? We need like an ungodly amount of blue construction paper that we didn't plan on. And, you know, if I can help out, I'm going to help out. But I do feel like when I was an elementary teacher, there was sort of an underlying sort of lack of respect of the arts in general that was, well, we have to go on a field trip. We can miss art. It's just art. Or, you know, we can take the kids away from this or ask the art teacher to do this because it's just the art class. I mean, really, it's just the class so that we, you know, the real teachers can have our prep time. And, you know, I think as an elementary teacher or any teacher that's in that situation, it just takes time to kind of build up and show that you have a legitimate curriculum and program. And that stuff starts to die out. I mean, I think I got that initially early on. And by the time I was done being an elementary teacher, people knew that I was an integral part of the whole school and district's mission of innovation, creativity, intelligence, and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, and like you said, I think it is kind of a tough battle to fight to get that reputation as, you know, being, like you said, an integral part of those things. But with enough effort, I think it comes quite a ways with that. But do you think that maybe, you know, on that journey to being respected, being well thought of, do we need to say yes sometimes?
Yeah, so I do think that there are times where saying yes is it's good. It's important. So I actually love doing murals. I think murals are a really great thing. Now, there's a difference between you doing the mural or having, plenty of time ahead of time to plan into your curriculum that your class is going to do a mural. So when you can turn it into a viable and relevant piece of your curriculum, I think saying yes is like a win-win. It shows that the arts are an important part of the school. It kind of builds rapport with the administrators and other teachers. It shows what you're doing is really important. So, I think it's a teacher by teacher, case by case thing to weigh all the different factors of when can I say yes, when can I say no. One of the bits of advice I always give young teachers is just always say no. If your kids ask you anything, no. Like if you don't know the answer is no. So when a teacher comes to you and says, the former art teacher used to do, the holiday performance and they would do no, I don't do that. I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry. And, you can play dumb and you can say you have no experience in that. And then you can kind of build up from there, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So just to clarify for our listeners, Andrew is, correct me if I'm wrong, giving you permission to say no to all of these things.
You can totally say no, but every once in a while, you weigh it in, and sometimes it is okay to say yes. But I would say for me, this last year, and I told you off the top, I'm kind of working on this. I'd say I was a 70-30 no. Like 70% of the time it's like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Yeah. And then there were things where it's like, you know what? It's going to be easy for me to do. It's going to be win-win where it benefits my students and the school and everything. Another thing that I like to do, a trick where I can say yes, but not put more on my plate, is I've been doing a lot with graphic design. So as teachers want a flyer made or this done or a logo created for their after school, whatever, and they say, can you make this for us? I'll say, I can't do that because I'm really busy, but I have a handful of really gifted students who are actually like done and kind of ahead of schedule. I bet they would love to work on this for you. And that's been really beneficial. So that's kind of a little trick where it's still getting done, but it's getting done by students who are hungry for extra opportunities.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. So maybe we should just qualify our answer and say we can say yes to the requests that are worthwhile and just say no to the really stupid ones.
Yeah. Say no to the majority of the stuff, but find those gems to say yes to.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. So let's close it out here with just one last question for you. Speaking of all those stupid requests, like what is the worst thing that somebody has asked you to do?
Well, it sounded like really cool, but it was just like way out of my league. And I just had to say no. And this is a lady I think highly of, and she's awesome, a community person. She emailed me. She's like, hey, I think it would be great if you and your students could design the entire downtown holiday explosion, Santa coming to town with ice sculptures and flames and fireworks. And it's like, oh, wow. That's like way beyond like
let me just grab our chainsaws real quick.
Yeah. Let's get a bunch of 13 and 14-year-olds with chainsaws and pyrotechnic licenses, and we'll make a great holiday fiesta here. So I kind of had to politely just say, like, I'm really too busy to take that on right now. So
yeah, that's probably for the best. So,
yeah, right.
Cool. All right. Well, that is a good story for us to close on. So thank you so much. Good talking to you as always. And we'll do it again soon.
All right. See you later, man. Bye.
All right. Thanks. So you can see a difference there between Andrew and myself when it comes to these types of requests and these types of things that people ask for us. Like I'm very hard line saying, oh, no, I can't do that. No, we're too busy with this project. No, my kids are way too into this. And, maybe I'm mean. Maybe I'm the curmudgeon that always, Andrew always talks about me being. Hey, he's a little bit nicer. He's a little bit more accommodating. And I love his point about, making it work for him and his curriculum. And if you can do that, I think it's worthwhile. But more than anything, it's important for you and for every teacher really to do your best with the time that you have. Hey, when you're worried about making posters or giving up your supplies or losing your instructional time, you're not going to be at your best, and your kids deserve you at your best. So it really is okay to say no. And how you approach that rejection, it can be important. As we said, you don't want to come across as a jerk or not being a team player. Okay. But if you can emphasize how into your curriculum you are, or how involved you are with your next lesson, that's probably the best way to go. Hey, if you want to be like Andrew and incorporate that request into your curriculum and actually say yes, that's even better. Hey, but sometimes you just need to say no, and it's okay to do that. Hey, it's okay to say, I just don't have the extra time to do that right now. I'm sorry. I'm going to repeat that for those of you that are still feeling bad or feeling guilty about not doing everything for everyone. It's okay to say no. If you have a reason for saying no, that's awesome. If you don't, that's awesome too. It really doesn't matter. Like I said, you need to do what works for you, what works for your students, so that you can be at your best. And if that requires you to say no to the things that come across your desk, okay, make sure you say no. Art Ed Radio is developed, produced, and supported by the Art of Education with audio engineering by Michael Crocker. Please subscribe to Art Ed Radio on iTunes and go to artedradio.com and sign up for our newsletter. We'll also put up the show notes and some great articles about everything related to this episode. New episodes are released every Tuesday, and we will see you then. As always, thank you for listening.